Welcome to the Center for the Arts as we begin a brand new season of the Food and Farm Show right here on the Food and Farm channel. I'm Gil Dominguez. Welcome to our second season. Tonight we start here at the Center for the Arts for a very important documentary film called Food for Change, which chronicles the history of food co-ops in our country, starting at the Depression and then moving forward to today. Sponsored by Briar Patch, our local food co-op, and we'll be talking with Stephanie Mandel, marketing manager from Briar Patch. Also sponsored by the Banner Grange, which I am a member of Banner Grange, and we'll be meeting some people from the Grange to talk about their organization. And later this weekend, actually, we'll be at the Banner Grange for the annual seed swap with Rowan White and her Sierra Seed Cooperative, and lots of fine speakers out there and lots of great information that we'll be getting. But right now, let's go inside and meet Stephanie and the Banner Grange. Right after the break, you're watching the Food and Farm Show right here on the Food and Farm Show Network. Nevada County Farm Supply has been part of the agricultural scene since 1993. Their staff consists of a certified crop advisor, licensed pest control advisor, and irrigation auditor. In Penn Valley, they have a full-service nursery with over 500 varieties of plants and garden enhancements. In Grass Valley, they have a warehouse full of soil amendments, fertilizers, and nutrients. Nevada County Farm Supply, powerful knowledge and innovative solutions.
Anything Green Hydroponics is your source for hydro systems, grow lights, and soils. Anything Green offers a complete range of organic nutrients as well as fungicides, miticides, and predatory bugs. Anything Green Hydroponics has just received this year's soil. Get your totes, pallets, or individual bags. Stay tuned for future workshops. It's all at Anything Green Hydroponics.
With me right now is Richie Marks from the Banner Grange, this year's president, and what a great turnout for the movie tonight, Rich.
Yeah, we're looking forward to a great time, and the Briar Patch is part of this event. They invited us here to do a benefit for us, and it all came about really simply. We were having a seed swap, and we started advertising in their publication, and then they ended up having a movie about cooperation in America, and it's Food for Change is the movie tonight, and we're just part of this, and they're going to donate all the money that they get tonight through the Banner Grange, and it's great, and it's about cooperation.
Well, you remember last year we joined the Banner Grange about a year ago, and you guys have had such a resurgence since then.
Yeah, it's really growing right now, and this is another event that I think will get a lot of attention towards what we're doing, and it's just going to be great. So we're looking forward to the Grange growing in 2014, and we've got some great events coming, and the right people are showing up. And our biggest initiative that we're going to work on is getting the kitchen up to certification, and so that we can use that kitchen for value added for local farmers. And it's one of the things that the right people have showed up to help us with that. And we're going to work closely with the county on that, and we plan to do it in 2014.
Now, how did the association with Briar Patch come to be?
Well, we advertised and we wrote a story about our seed swap that we were going to have, and so we were writing that story in the Banner Grange in this the Vine newsletter, and Stephanie, a conversation got going about this, and there was this movie, and it just matched up perfectly with our organization and their organization.
And of course, the Grange has a table here right now that everyone can see and sign up and learn more about Grange.
That's right. So we're here to share the information, and we're passing on information over there about our local Grange. And we've got a great PR person now that's joined and really sees the vision that we want to make for the community here. And she's helping us out, and it's going to be fun.
All right, with me right now is Stephanie Mandel from Briar Patch, one of the organizers of tonight's film festival, along with the Banner Grange. Stephanie, thanks for being on the Food and Farm Show.
You're welcome.
Now, what a great idea. I know I was talking to you earlier, emailing you, and you said you weren't expecting a sellout. Pretty darn close.
Yeah, we're really happy with the crowd. We really wanted more people to see this film. And so I'm really pleased. And the Grange really helped with that. They sent the word out to their people, and so it was a nice cooperative effort.
And of course, they had a little Grange presentation prior to the showing of the movie, and I think that really gave people a lot of information that they didn't know the Grange was so extensive and what a long history it had.
Yeah, me too. I was really interested in learning about that. I'm not sure which goes back further, the Granges or the co-ops in the U.S.
Well, the whole spirit of being a cooperative, what I was really impressed with was how the cooperative idea really translates into so many more things other than just food.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, almost anything. I don't think people realize, but they probably are involved in a cooperative effort, like cooperative childcare. I know when I had a young child, I organized some friends, and we would take turns and cooperate in taking care of our children, and that's a good example of how to cooperate with other people.
And they were talking about cooperatively making machinery and manufacturing items too, which really, it's when you look at that now, it's like duh, but not realizing how that affects everybody. It's really maybe an idea that's resurfacing.
Yeah, I'd really love to see it keep growing and have more people involved in it.
And of course, they featured our own briar patch in there a little bit in the movie. Were you aware that was in there before, or when did that footage take place? They even had a shot of the new store.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be in there. I sent them the photos. No, yeah, they've been making this film for a while, so they've reached out to the food co-ops in the country, and we've actually supported the making of the film a little bit.
So even the film is cooperative.
Very much, yes. Good point.
Now let's talk about our own little co-op here, which isn't so little anymore. Sales, when you opened up the new store, exceeded expectations.
Well, our sales have pretty much quadrupled since we opened the new store 7 years ago. So yeah, that exceeded expectations.
And it really doesn't seem like 7 years before you were breaking ground and everything. I mean, it still seems like a relatively new store.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like 7 years to me either. Yeah, it was May 30th, 2007 when it opened.
So what are the plans now? Can you share anything with our audience on some of the latest projects that Briar Patch is up to?
Well, I can say that the board and the managers are looking at options because our parking lot is full a lot, and they're looking at a variety of options and crunching numbers and being very diligent, working very hard to figure out what would make sense in this community.
But in terms of like hosting this festival tonight, this film debut of Food for Change and more community involvement like that.
Oh yeah, we're always looking for ways to partner in the community. We were really pleased to help bring Michael Pollan to the community last year, and what else do we have planned for this year? Oh well, we're gonna be involved in the Celtic Festival this year. We're gonna be a major sponsor of the KVMR Celtic Festival. It's a big year for KVMR with their new facility, and we wanted to help support that, the new building.
Yeah, that's going to be fabulous for them over there in Nevada City.
Yeah.
All right, well, listen, thanks for spending a few times. I saw you had your Briar Patch table there, and a lot of people coming over, and of course this is right up your alley, being our co-op here locally.
Yep, that's right. Thanks for talking to us.
Here at the movie premiere of Food for Change is Rick Robbins and Pamela Hall. Guys, welcome to the Food and Farm Show.
Thank you.
Now let's find out a little bit about what your new banking idea is.
Well, what we're working on is what's known as a public bank. In this case, we're promoting a public bank for Nevada County, which would mean a bank owned by Nevada County. Nevada County essentially owns the stock. And because of that, then they can use the banking system to make loans and put money into the economy for, among other things, say a slaughterhouse or a dairy or something that we need in this county and can use in this county, but unfortunately at the moment the banking system is not interested in financing that type of project. But if we had a public bank, the public bank can target loans at specific things. It doesn't do it directly. It works with the local community banks, so a tri-counties or something like that. So if you wanted to start a dairy and said you needed $3 million, Well, maybe Tri-Counties is unwilling to lend you $3 million. They don't want to put a $3 million loan on their portfolio. But they could say, okay, we can lend you $500,000. We'll go to the public bank for the rest of it. So then they're able to package up a loan that allows you to actually start that business or expand a business or whatever you're looking to do. And then because the public bank is not intended to be a for-profit organization, it's not that it doesn't have to make enough money to survive, but it doesn't have to make a lot of money. So they might loan money at, say, 2%, like the Bank of North Dakota, which is the only public bank in the U.S. now, does. And then let's say that the Tri-Counties loan the rest of it at 8%. You might average out at about a 3% loan. Well, if you tried to go to Chase Manhattan or Wells Fargo or somebody like that, they're probably going to charge you 8, 9, or 10%. So we're able to get money into the county at a lower cost, and on top of that, that interest stays here in the county.
Well, that sounds like a very worthwhile project, especially for revenue that would stay right here in the county. And Pamela, what has been the reception from people that you've talked to about this concept?
Well, sometimes people just get bored and their eyes glaze over when you talk about public banking. But when you talk about what it means to people, they can get very enthusiastic about it because, for instance, if we had a natural disaster, the public bank could be there immediately with funds for emergency housing and for rebuilding and things like that. And then weeks later, when FEMA finally gets around to helping us out, then they can reimburse the public bank. This is what was done in North Dakota when they had a tremendous flood at Grand Forks. And the side of Grand Forks that was on the North Dakota border did so much better than the one on the side that was in the next state over, and where they were still seeing the effects, 18 years later. And then also there's things like foreclosures. Our bank could help prevent foreclosures. And in North Dakota, the farmers were having a terrible drought, and their bank decided we can't just foreclose on these people. So they made other arrangements and worked with people so they could keep their farms, because it's banking in the public interest. North Dakota is a public bank. It was the first bank that had low-interest student loans. And we can do that here. I mean, right now we can't get low-interest student loans. Kids are using their credit cards. They're buried in debt before they graduate from college. We could offer low-interest student loans to students who are going to local colleges, or maybe we could decide it was for students who are residents in the county. We could just think about that, but it's a possibility that one of the many things we could do. And just the fact that we can give low credit to businesses through the community banks. We've had a lot of business failures, a lot of job loss, and that's because the Wall Street banks have purposely not invested in small and medium-sized businesses because they can get better interest in the kind of casino-style investments, investing in derivatives. But we could invest in good businesses. Then small businesses and medium-sized businesses, that's where you get most of your jobs. So that would help increase prosperity in our county. People have jobs. They can start spending money at other businesses and being able to afford their mortgages. I mean, money is a real versatile thing. It can do a lot of good things. And we just need to keep it here, local.
So, Rick, what's the next step in this process then?
Well, the next step, basically, we are trying to, in order to have a public bank, we have to be a charter county. And Nevada County currently is a general law county. There are 14 charter counties in the state, and 58 or so out of the total 58. Interestingly enough, Grass Valley and Truckee are charter cities. But if we're a charter county, we'll be able to get around a certain aspect of the California Constitution that would otherwise limit that. And so we're pushing to establish a charter here in the county. And what we want to do is control the conversation about what we want in the charter. So we have a website, mainstreetforumnc.org, and on that website you can find information about the charter, and then you can read up about what we're proposing to put in the charter, and then there will be a survey up shortly where you can actually vote essentially on what you would like to see in the charter and whether you definitely want the charter or not. it's something that the Board of Supervisors, being somewhat conservative, and they're not going to take a lot of risk, but if we can get enough people behind it, they're likely to go along and do what we want them to do.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of great benefits that can come to the county from something like that. You mentioned a slaughterhouse, and that's one thing definitely that the community needs. So the movie's just about to start. I could hear it in there. Thank you guys so much for joining us,
Thank you, Gil.
and we look forward to following your progress.
Thank you,
Great.
Bill.
All right, so you just saw the movie tonight. What was your first impression of that?
I could totally relate. I've been a co-op member forever, and it was the essence of cooperation as opposed to competition, and it was great to see it all laid out historically, and with the Grange, which is also all about cooperation. Granges got together so that farmers could share as opposed to compete, and I thought that dovetailed beautifully. It was a great capsulization of the whole movement of cooperation that you don't really see. You don't see that in corporate media. It's all about competition and dominance. And of course, with dominance comes those who are dominated and those who are the losers. And with the co-op, nobody's a loser. You know, it's nobody's a huge winner, except for we win in that we have community and a sense of safety, and that sense of community you don't get when you're out to dominate. Sort of the difference between the Bay Area drivers who visit here and the locals who do share the road because they live here. They know that they're running into their own neighbors and friends when they stop at a stop sign instead of running it. It was great. It was great.
Was there anything in the movie that really jumped out at you, something that you didn't know before, and you went, "Oh wow, I didn't realize that"?
You know, it was getting the perspective at the end, the very end of the movie, while the credits were rolling, because I've been on the inside, being an old hippie, and buying cooperatively from Mountain People's Produce, where we would put together an order and it would be shipped to us. It wasn't a physical co-op, it was an order co-op. And hearing this other fellow's perspective, it was cool to see that other side. That was new to me because I've been on the inside and that view from the outside looking in, and that was very fun.
What's your overall impression?
Well, I think co-ops are a good thing. I think it's a good way to do business. So it looks like it's going to invigorate small towns again.
What was the most surprising thing that you learned about co-ops from the movie?
I think that there's so many of them around the country, and probably the history of the co-ops and how they've developed over the years.
Well, I love the old footage and seeing how the history goes back and how it keeps repeating itself. People keep having this same great idea of starting a co-op and working together, and that idea just keeps cropping up again in history. You know, it's a good idea. It won't go away.
We're doing it right. It's taken a long time, but I guess good things take a long time, and we're on the right path to be cooperating.
Was there anything surprising that you learned about co-ops that you didn't know before?
I think the early history was pretty fascinating, that they had grown so much and that they got sort of sideswiped by the war and everything, yeah.
Which kind of led, if you follow that line of thinking, to the whole military, industrial, corporate complex that we're burdened by today.
Right, I agree with you 100%. It seems like they have a plan now. I guess our plan seems maybe it'll work.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was funny, and I was totally able to get behind it. I'm happy I came. I'm glad whoever brought it.
Well, it was a joint project with Briar Patch and the Banner Grange that brought the movie here tonight. Was there one thing that really surprised you that you didn't know about co-ops?
Well, I guess how old they are. The history of it was very interesting, and it's really fantastic that it's kind of creating a new life again. I even signed up. I'm a member.
For me, years ago when the first co-op here at Briar Patch in Grass Valley started, I remember looking at it going, wow, this seems like a really normal thing to do. I joined up, then I lapsed, then I joined, and then I lapsed. But seeing this across the country and watching the way it was in the early days, which I didn't realize the whole story behind it, it's very inspiring. I find it's a film I think everybody should see. Well, anybody who's into good food and community cooperation. So good stuff. Great evening.
And now you're sort of affiliated with Growing Local and everything.
That's true too.
Yeah. And so what's your impression when you tie all that together?
Well, I think seeing the farmers markets springing up around our area, that's one of the things that's huge, for our family, and being able to actually have an orchard where we grow pears and apples and various, beekeeping and honey, and we can sell that to local stores here like SPD or Briar Patch or different farmers markets in Auburn and Roseville even, and up here in as well in Grass Valley, Nevada City. It's just great to see communities coming together, supporting themselves with food, with every which way you can go, and then spreading the wealth back out amongst the community instead of seeing it going off to, some larger place that we'll just leave out of the conversation for now, but I think you know what I mean. I like it. I really like seeing that, and I'm just really enjoying the community cooperation from it all. Co-op, it says it all right there.
Pride in our community, seeing how far we've come as a co-op, and also the pride in knowing that the Granges have survived in spite of ourselves. And my people come from Urbana, Illinois, and we're founders there, so I come from farmers. So to see the co-op industry and the Granges cooperative mixed together, it's all beautiful community.
Oh, it's great. Thank you. I don't know what to say other than co-ops are definitely the way to go.
What was the thing that you learned most about co-ops tonight?
It was a very exciting feeling to how community can work together to accomplish things. I hadn't thought about what a big impact we can each have by working together, and I appreciated that.
Well, it was fun to see how diverse they were and how many there are actually working in the country.
Hi. I am Vanita of the Banner Grange, and it was wonderful. I'm very happy to be part of this community, and we need to repeal the Federal Reserve, get rid of them, move to amend, get rid of that corporation, and we'll have everything we need. Everything we need. It's all about the money. Get rid of them. Bring back the gold and silver, and we'll be fine.
I think about the early days of the co-op movement, back in the hard times in the early 30s, and so I didn't realize that the co-op movement was so big then. Yeah, so it was great. It was a really good movie.
Well, I thought it was wonderful. Certainly co-ops are the best thing going for the food industry, if you want to call it that. And doing everything locally is really important as well.
Fair treatment of farmers and getting the food to the people. And that's what it's all about, is treating the producers correctly and getting the food to the people. Co-ops are good at it. And following the history of it was very interesting, very fun. Way back from the Depression.
It's inspiring to see this. I love the fact that we seem to be, if not ahead of the curve, we're right there along with it. And the emphasis on shopping local, working with our local farmers and so forth to create self-supporting local economy. That's awesome. That's great.
Again, the whole theme of cooperation, and especially I think that was really cool was around Minneapolis in the St. Paul area, of how all those cooperatives work together and how powerful they are and how successfully economically they are. And I think we need to know more about that place. So I think that we should find out about that.
Yeah, good ideas are resurgent. They come back. They can't be stopped. The white people will always bring them back up. And the first 4 minutes were a little slow, but the rest was great. And those guys putting that guy at the end, that was a brilliant, brilliant little piece of editing.
It was a wonderful movie, very good. And the co-ops are strong in California and getting stronger.
What was the thing that surprised you most, maybe something you didn't know about co-ops?
Nothing. No, I didn't know that they were branching out into other services, like for education and things like that. And that's really good. And the idea about the co-ops reinvesting their money in the community is something that hadn't really occurred to me before. But that's very good too.
Well, that's about all the time we have right now for this edition of the Food and Farm. As we begin our second season, what a great way to do it with Food for Change, the movie, and all the comments that we received from everybody that was here. Big thanks to Stephanie Mandel and Briar Patch. And of course the Banner Grange, which is right behind me. We've got a lot of people signed up tonight for the Grange, including our very own Bianca Cruz Manafort standing behind the camera. And we will be at the Banner Grange this Saturday for the seed swap and hear what they have to say, Rowan White and her group, about cultivating seeds, which really is our historical tradition to grow the food of the future. For everybody at the Food and Farm Show, I'm Gil Dominguez. We'll see you next time. Nevada County Farm Supply has been part of the agricultural scene since 1993. Their staff consists of a certified crop advisor, licensed pest control advisor, and irrigation auditor. In Penn Valley, they have a full-service nursery with over 500 varieties of plants and garden enhancements. In Grass Valley, they have a warehouse full of soil amendments, fertilizers, and nutrients. Nevada County Farm Supply, powerful knowledge and innovative solutions.
Anything Green Hydroponics is your source for hydro systems, grow lights, and soils. Anything Green offers a complete range of organic nutrients as well as fungicides, miticides, and predatory bugs. Anything Green Hydroponics has just received this year's soil. Get your totes, pallets, or individual bags. Stay tuned for future workshops. It's all at Anything Green Hydroponics.